Eyewitness News was there as Wellington Dickens III made his first appearance in Johnston County Court today. DeJuan Hogard inside that courtroom. He continues our live team coverage with what happened in court and what court documents are revealing now. DeJuan?
Yeah, just disturbing and heartbreaking details that I've learned from those court documents today, and that 4 of Wellington Dickens III, his children, all have been dead since May the 1st of this year. And this afternoon, Dickens appearing in a Johnston County courtroom directly behind me.
The Honorable Jason Coach, District Court Judge presiding. Please be seated. Come to order. Court's in session.
Wellington Dickens III walking into a Johnston County courtroom today, a day after calling 911 and telling the dispatcher he killed his children.
You have been charged with first-degree murder, which is a Class A felony. It carries a maximum sentence of life without parole or the death penalty.
Judge Jason Coates presiding over today's first appearance, in which Dickens said nothing other than to confirm his U.S. citizenship and asked for a public defender.
I will appoint the Capitol Defender's Office to represent you, okay?
Now, new questions about what happened and how it remained a secret for months. Eyewitness News learning authorities believe 3 of Dickens' children and his stepson have been dead since May 1st.
I would request no bond in this case. This is an ongoing investigation at this very moment.
Your Honor, I don't have any objection to that.
He's due back in court on November 13th, where we're set to learn more details into this disturbing situation.
At this time, I'm going to order that the defendant be held without bond.
And we also reached out to Johnston County Schools to find out if these children were in fact enrolled in public county schools here in the county. We've yet to hear anything back. Also reached out to Johnston County Department of Social Services to find out any other information that we possibly could with respect to those 4 deceased children. And the DSS office getting back saying that due to confidentiality laws, they're unable to provide any further information. We're live in Smithfield tonight. DeJuan Hogard, Abyss 11.
A monster. That's what Sean Brassfield's father says of the man accused of killing his son. Wellington Dickens is facing murder charges for killing his 3 biological children and his stepson. I spoke to that stepson's biological father today about the last conversation he had with Wellington Dickens while at least one of his children was in the back of a trunk inside this garage.
You see this type of stuff in movies. You don't see it in, Johnston County, North Carolina.
Sean Brassfield's father spoke to me on a condition of anonymity. He tells me Sean was born 30 weeks premature and was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, in need of extra care for his entire life. Care he says his son was not receiving over the last year and a half. And these photos of his son as a child are the last images he has of him, since he says Dickens cut him off from seeing Sean over 10 years ago. And now he regrets not doing more to be involved.
I think I should have fought harder. I should have took them to court. But who would have known they would have showed up? But I should have did, as if I should have fought harder,
Brassfield's father says he spoke to Dickens in August when Dickens was looking for help taking care of Sean, though he says Dickens bucked traditional medical care.
He would say, well, I gave him these special things so he doesn't have seizures anymore. Bro, I don't care about any of those things.
Now he'll live with unanswerable questions of the unthinkable that happened inside this home, with images seared in his mind of what his son experienced during the last 6 months of his life.
And especially knowing Sean was disabled, him watching his brothers and sisters die, right? He could go to anybody for help because he was disabled. So he was probably terrified out of his mind.
The investigation into Zebulon man Wellington Dickens III continues. Months after investigators say he called 911 to report he killed his kids, telling the dispatcher that God influenced his actions.
I killed my children. It's a lot to explain, but in a nutshell, it's all my fault. It wasn't up to me. God just influenced me.
Police found the bodies of his 4-year-old daughter, 9-year-old daughter, 10-year-old son, and 18-year-old stepson in the trunk of his car at his Zebulon home. Investigators believe he killed the children at different times between May and September.
When I say just killed, I didn't use knives or nothing to cut nobody or shoot nobody or nothing. It started out as me over-disciplining. Just beat on them sometimes.
According to a warrant, Dickens also told deputies that his 1-month-old baby got sick and died shortly after moving into their home. Investigators claim Dickens said he buried the baby's body in the woods behind the house. One of the newly filed search warrants is for investigators to search that land. Other search warrants are for 6 tablets, 2 cell phones, and even information about a dating app profile. Investigators believe Dickens communicated with people on the app Grindr. A search warrant said, quote, "This affiant has identified several individuals that have frequented the home during the time span of the murders taking place." One search warrant also said deputies found an unusual amount of cleaning items in the home in what might have been an attempt to clean up evidence.
I'm not a threat to him, but if you think I'm a threat, if you want me to be in another place,
Sir,
I'll go wherever you need me to
sir, I need you to hold on 1 second, okay? So the address, Sheriff's Office, is going to be 101 Springtooth Drive in Zebulon.
Yes, 101 Springtooth Drive.
Okay, and he's advising of some bodies that are in his trunk, okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, sir, what's your name?
Wellington Dickens.
And a good telephone number?
Say what, man?
A good telephone number, please.
919.
Okay, sir, what's going on?
I killed my children. It's a lot to explain, but in a nutshell, it's all my fault. I'm not even going. It's my fault. It's bad. I didn't hurt them on some when I say just kill, I didn't use knives or nothing to cut nobody or shoot nobody or nothing. It started out as me over-disciplining. That's it. And leaving them out to eat, leaving stuff out to eat, it's a lot of stuff.
Okay, and sir, how did you do it? Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how did you do it?
I beat on them sometimes. They didn't want to eat. I didn't force them to eat. I told them that it was a punishment not to eat. I did a bunch of different little things. I thought I was trying to. It's a lot of things, and I'm trying to just do the right thing because I left something. I tried to call a lawyer earlier, but I could have maybe called a lot more lawyers. I just did one. I should have just started calling all of them, and just trying to basically turn. I was basically trying to turn myself in without it being extra. But like I said, if y'all want to do it extra, that's fine. I didn't know your procedures, and I'm not trying to tell you what not to do.
How old were the children?
Mm-hmm.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are the children?
10. Well, the oldest is my stepson. He's 18.
Okay, and the other one
And then
is 10?
I got the other one is 10. Yes, that's my oldest son. Then I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I got a 5-year-old daughter, and I have a son here now on my bed, and I'm not even gonna try to make it look. Well, I wanted to bring this up.
Okay, and sir, who is there with you now? Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is there with you now?
Just me and my son.
And do you have any weapons on you?
No weapons on me. I do have some knives here, but not on me. Like I said, if you want me to, I'll come outside in my underwear. I don't know what y'all need me to be. I'm willing to do whatever you need me to do. I never had this in my life, you know. This
Okay,
music
and
right
sir,
here.
have you been drinking or doing any drugs?
I did smoke, and I had like a sip of the champagne.
The first matter we have before you, Your Honor, is Wellington Dickens III.
Clad in a striped orange jumpsuit, Wellington Dickens heard the serious charges he's facing.
At this time, I'm going to order that the defendant be held without bond.
Charges the sheriff's office says he's admitted to. Monday night, Johnston County sheriffs say Dickens called 911, admitting he killed his children. Deputies found 4 kids dead inside the trunk of a vehicle in the garage at Dickens' home and believe they were there for a long period of time. According to charging documents, investigators believe the children have been dead since May 1st, believed to be Dickens' biological children, ages 6, 9, and 10, and his 18-year-old stepchild inside. Dickens' 3-year-old son was found alive inside the home.
I haven't really had time to process it.
Dickens is an Iraq war vet.
He was in the service and he had problems ever since he came back, I think.
Court records show Dickens married his wife Stephanie in 2015. A year later, they gave birth to a baby girl. According to court filings, Wake Med submitted a report of suspicion of abuse or neglect against Dickens and his wife that year, accusing Dickens and his wife of refusing medical care for their newborn daughter with jaundice. It's an accusation Dickens challenged and sued Wake Med over. Dickens' wife died in April of 2024 due to pregnancy complications, and now 4 of his children are dead, with law enforcement pointing the finger at him.
Well, like anybody else, I was just shocked, you know. You hear talk of that happening to other people, but you just wouldn't think it would happen to one of your own.
In the fall of 2025, a tragic and deeply disturbing case unfolded in the quiet town of Zebulon, North Carolina, forever changing the lives of a family and an entire community. The story centers on Wellington Dickens III, a man whose actions shocked the nation when he confessed to the brutal murder of 4 of his children and his stepson. This horrific act not only brought grief to a family, but raised questions about the events leading to the deaths and the warning signs that went unnoticed. Let's dive into the details of this heartbreaking case, piece together the timeline of events, and understand the developments as they stand today. It all began on a seemingly ordinary October day in 2025 when Wellington Dickens called 911 in a chilling confession. On the other end of the line, Dickens, who had been living with his children and his partner in a suburban home in Zebulon, admitted that he had killed his children. His voice on the call was cold and matter-of-fact as he detailed the deaths of 4 young victims, 3 of them his own children and 1 his stepson. In the moments that followed, Dickens led authorities to the grisly discovery. The remains of the victims were found in the trunk of a car parked in the family garage. The victims, all under the age of 18, were identified as 6-year-old Leah Dickens, 9-year-old Zoe Dickens, 10-year-old Wellington Dickens IV, and 18-year-old Sean Brassfield, Dickens' stepson. Each of these children had a unique and heartbreaking connection to the man who ultimately took their lives. Leah, just 6 years old, was the youngest of Dickens' children. Zoe and Wellington IV, both of whom were his biological children, were taken from the world far too soon, with Wellington IV being only 10 years old at the time of his death. Sean Brassfield, his stepson, was 18 years old and tragically caught in the midst of a situation he had no control over. The horror of these murders lay not just in the brutality of the act, but also in the relationships that had once existed between these children and the man who had been their father figure. The investigation into the murders uncovered a chilling timeline of events that would later paint a picture of Dickens' descent into violence. According to authorities, the killings had taken place over the course of several months, with the first victim, 6-year-old Leah, being killed as early as May 2025. By the time authorities had discovered the remains in October, Zoe and Wellington IV had already been dead for some time. It was clear that Dickens had been keeping the bodies of his children hidden in the garage for months, possibly in an attempt to avoid detection or to distance himself from a growing number of victims. The state of the investigation in the days following Dickens' confession was marked by shock and disbelief. Authorities had been working tirelessly to gather information about the events leading to the deaths, and much of the information came from interviews with Dickens himself. During his 911 call, Dickens admitted to over-disciplining the children, though it remains unclear what exactly he meant by that. Investigators were left grappling with the question of whether these killings had been planned or if they were the result of an emotional outburst gone terribly wrong. Dickens' own words offered little insight, as he claimed that he was unable to stop himself and that he had been emotionally drained by the stress of parenting. The case was met with widespread outrage and disbelief, as many wondered how someone who had once been entrusted with the care and protection of these children could turn on them so violently. The local community in Zebulon was left reeling, struggling to comprehend how a man who had once been a father figure to these children could commit such unthinkable acts. Among the deceased were Leah, 6, Zoe, 9, Wellington, 4, 10, Sean, 18, and Riley, a 1-month-old infant yet to be found. Dickens claimed over-discipline led to the deaths, but investigators described prolonged neglect, starvation, and extreme cruelty. Even neighbors who knew the family well are struggling to comprehend how such a tragedy could unfold unnoticed. Authorities have charged Dickens with multiple counts of first-degree murder. The surviving child is now in protective care, while the investigation continues, including the search for Riley's remains. Family and friends of the victims were left to mourn the senseless loss, while the public grappled with the devastating realities of what had occurred behind closed doors. At present, the legal proceedings surrounding Wellington Dickens are ongoing. Dickens has been formally charged with the murders of his 4 children and his stepson. Authorities have indicated that they will seek the death penalty, citing the horrific nature of the crimes and the number of victims involved. Dickens is currently awaiting trial, and a preliminary court date has been set for March 2026, when the full scope of the charges against him will be addressed. It is expected that additional details will emerge during the trial, as investigators continue to piece together the full timeline of events that led to the murders. In the days following his arrest, Dickens appeared to show little remorse for his actions. In interviews with investigators, he claimed that he was not in his right mind at the time of the murders, and that he had not intended for things to escalate to such a violent end. Despite his claims, the evidence against him is overwhelming, and it seems likely that he will face a lengthy trial and potentially the death penalty if convicted. As the case moves forward, the victims' families have continued to grieve, struggling to make sense of the loss. For them, the pain of losing their loved ones is compounded by the fact that the murders were carried out by someone who should have protected them. The impact of these killings will be felt for years to come, as the community and the families of the victims work through the aftermath of this horrific crime. For more breaking news and updated crime updates, subscribe to Crime Shadows, hit the notification bell to stay updated.